It says you are live. Hey everybody, this is Tony from Blue Green Artifacts in my poorly lit future office. I've been calling it a future office for a couple of years now. Still haven't worked on it, and we got to get that going. I do have a little better lighting system on the way, so maybe that'll help out. But these yellow walls of sadness are always going to be a downer. I realize that, but hey, you do what you got to do. Hey, we are going to. We've been doing a few different kind of videos. We've been opening. Some books that I've been receiving, and also looking at some books that I'm sending out. The reason I'm making these videos is, as a seller, I want to give a little, guidance or a little view into my thoughts and my practices as a comic book seller on eBay and Amazon. I've got about 1,200 active listings on eBay. I've got almost another 1,000 on Amazon. So I'm not telling you what to do, but I know when I started out, I did appreciate getting a glimpse into what other people were doing and their reasoning why. So it's kind of just why I'm doing this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I doubt we'll have in the thousands of subscribers that I have. It's gonna be a little quiet, and that's totally fine. So let's just get started. Along with opening up stuff that's coming in, I thought I did pre-cut this first one. I was going to do this off air. I decided to film at the last second. I do sell some other stuff other than comic books. I have quite a few things on Amazon actually that are not comic books, toys, collectibles, things like that. So I believe some of the things that we're opening today are not just comics. So we'll talk about that too. Along with opening these up, I did have a topic that I kind of wanted to touch on as we go. I thought we'd talk a little bit about grading. I watch a lot of CGC videos from other collectors, other sellers, either books that they're sending off, which I did one of those earlier this week as well, a couple of them, and books that they're getting back in. And it's always interesting to me to see what books other people are selling. Everybody has their own ideas. Everybody has their own plans. Grading nowadays costs a lot of money, so it's not something you should really enter into lightly. So I thought that would be something that might be worth talking about as we go. So this first book we opened up, we have the Spider-Man 50th anniversary variant. Okay, I was getting really good at this focus thing, and then I'm not. Yeah, well, it's going to be what it's going to be. This is Hawkeye #1. There we go. This is the 2016 series. This is the one where first appearance of Ramona Watts, who becomes Alloy, who becomes America Chavez's girlfriend. There's a Dave Aja variant and a Marguerite Sauvage variant of this that are now selling for a lot of money, which is why I'm sending a couple off to be graded. This one has nothing to do with Hawkeye, aside from the name. But I'm kind of just picking up any variants of this Hawkeye #1 book that I can. I'm not yet sending the regular cover off to get graded, but I am sending books off to get graded. Any of the harder to find variants, I should say. Mainly starting out with those 1 in 50s, and we'll go from there. It might be 1 in 25s. I don't remember. That's something else you'll learn about me. I don't remember a lot of stuff. I am not a fountain of knowledge. I've been collecting for a long time. As a 12-year-old, I believe, we were riding our bike through town. We grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. Stumbled across Lantern Comics. I believe I got my first view of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I don't know if it was issue 1 or not. I knew nothing about it, so I wasn't interested in it and didn't buy it, which is a regret. But got into X-Men and Spider-Man and Iron Man and everything from there. left collecting for a while, jumped back in when I started college. Left collecting for a while again, and then entered once again. Like, actually, that's kind of a pattern. A lot of people I've heard the same story from, but got back into collecting maybe 6 years ago now, and having a little bit more disposable income, been able to do more with it. Ooh, I took the back route. That's not a good idea. Let's leave that back in. All right, so let's take a look at these, and then we'll jump back into grading again. So again, that Hawkeye, there is a Disney Plus series. It has not had any news recently. Supposedly, they're working on casting now. They're hoping for that Haley Stanfield, I don't know how to pronounce, Haley Stanfield, the actress, the girl who was in True Grit. I don't think that's been completed. That has not been confirmed. Once there is some news as that show approaches, I think I'm really very, very, very high on Kate Bishop as a character. I think it's a huge opportunity to pull in that young female demographic. And the guys are always going to be reading comic books too, but new Halloween costumes, new cosplay at Comic-Cons and that kind of thing. All right, let's take a look at what we've got here. We've got 2 issues of Invaders #1. This is a 1993. Yep, not going to work. There we go. This is the 1993 Invaders series. This is a book I'm trying to pick up if I find it for less than like $5-6 a piece. This is the first appearance of Dr. Nemesis. Dr. Nemesis, if you recall, is that guy in white who has been part of various X teams, kind of introduced in the last 20 years here, about this, introduced to the X world about the same time as Phantom X. Kind of a cool, mysterious character, well written, good banter. He's this white-hatted character up on the top here. It's hard to see. The character actually was originally introduced in the Golden Age. It was a different person played the role, and very different character. So I'm not concerned about that Golden Age appearance. I'm chasing these because they're super cheap. Nobody even cares. And while they don't care, I'll just grab a whole bunch of them, and we shall see if he shows up. And he's been part of X-Force. He's part of this new Hickman. I'm not sure. I have not been reading all the new Hickman books, so I'm not sure where he sits in those hundreds of books. But Dr. Nemesis, I think any spec on any of the mutant characters is good spec. If it's somebody who has a good shot at being on a team. And that's one that's really flown under the radar, and I'm not really sure why. So it's kind of what I'm trying to take advantage of, is books that I think are undervalued. I will go out and buy books that have a lot of value if I do expect them to go up. As a seller, the whole reason I buy books is to make money. I do have my own personal collection, and I do buy books for my own personal collection, but that's probably less and less now. Even books in my personal collection, I do set a price on them. If you are willing to pay that price, I will part with them. All right, this is an interesting book. If I can get it sliced out of here properly. This has gotten a little bit of press the last year or so. There might be a few of these, actually. This is Truth, Red, White, and Black. This is, gosh, I forget the year now, 2006, 2003, something like that. This is the story of actually the very first, and I'm going to tell you the story, and I'm going to forget all the names, but the very first super soldier that Captain America was not the first person who was given the super soldier serum. that it was this character. And this character ends up being, I believe, the grandfather of Patriot. Patriot of the new Avengers, or the Young Avengers, has not made it to the screen yet, but there actually is, I believe, based on the world today, there's a really good chance that this plot hits the screen. And whether it's through Patriot, when Patriot is introduced, whenever that might be, yeah, it's just it's very interesting. This is a really nice copy. A couple dings maybe. So we shall see. I think these are going for like $20, $30 right now. Truth, red, white, and black. We'll keep going. I could sit and talk about one book for an extended period of time. Let's look at grading. What books do you get graded? What should you send out? I see a lot of people opening books, and they look like they're sellers, but when they open the CGC shipments, you see a lot of stuff that, oh, this was just a cool cover. I guess as a seller, I think you really need to define what you're grading and why you're grading it. If you're grading stuff for your personal collection, which I do that too. I have that David Nakayama cover of the Captain America Deadpool, where he's riding the Pegasus and carrying with rainbows, and yeah, it's nuts. It has no value, but I love David Nakayama. I love that cover. So why the hell not? So it's up to you, but I'm trying to become more, have a little bit more, what's the word? Focus on selling. So if I'm going to spend the money to get something graded, and I have decided if I am going to get something graded, first I am going to have somebody press it. I am not a presser. I would like to learn. I have 2 young kids and a full-time job, and I just don't have time. So I do send my books off to get pressed, even if they're moderns. If one little thumb tweak is the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8, many times that 0.2 difference can mean hundreds of dollars in value. If you have a first appearance of Batman Who Laughs and a 9.6 versus a 9.8, you're probably talking about a $300 swing. So it's definitely worth it. Might not be necessary on every book, but better safe than sorry, in my opinion. So so that's something to think about. Let's look at the next book that I just popped out here. I'm kind of high on these, this kind of subset, or these variants that came out for a lot of Star Wars books. These are the Galactic Icons. They were numbered. They did 36 of them. This is number 22 of 36. Obviously, we've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi. The comic is actually just Star Wars issue 52. But they were kind of spread across all the Star Wars books, all the Star Wars miniseries had various Galactic Icons. I did get these to grade. One of my strategies when I'm selling is to sell something that nobody else is selling. I think some of these Galactic Icons, of these iconic characters, of the Darth Maul, of the kind of cool looking newer ones, the Cad Bane, the Dr. Aphra, Boba Fett, obviously, and of the classic characters, I think this was the best of them, the Ben Kenobi. That is the kind of thing a lot of people would really like to hang on their wall. If they could have 3 or 4 of the most famous, they're just awesome portrait shots. I don't know who the artist is on this. They were super cheap. I'm getting these for between $1 and $4 a piece. So I have quite a few coming in of some of the characters that I like. I am going to send some off to get graded. If you're grading things and pressing them, I basically, in my head, I factor $40 off. It's sometimes not that much, but that I'm going to be spending $40 for that whole process, for the shipping, for the pressing, for the grading, and to get it back again. So if I'm spending, let's say, $5 on this book, if I spend $40 to get it graded, I don't want to sell anything that I can't double my money on, and that would be at the bare minimum. So if I'm spending $45 on this to get a 9.8, $90 would be the minimum. If I am grading, selling a slab, I'm probably not going to list it for less than 100. And going back to again, one of my strategies about selling is to be one of the only people selling that thing. So if I have a slab of Ben Kenobi or a Darth Maul or a Boba Fett, and that's the only 9.8 on eBay, if you're not competing against anybody else, you can set whatever price you want to set. I'll show you a book that actually, I'm not going to send it out as we're talking, but I need to box up and send off later tonight. And that's this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 101. This is the retailer incentive variant, the 1 in 10 IDW. This got a lot of press when it first came out for this character, first appearance of Mona Lisa. It is actually also the first appearance of a bunch of young characters, including this one on the cover. Her name is Lita. She's an albino turtle. She's kind of in this young group of trainees. But in 105, we got a glimpse of her as an adult and got a really big hint that she is going to be a very big part of the future. So this is kind of a recent book. I think there have been a couple graded copies. Currently, I'm the only one who's got one, and I'm gonna set it at a premium price. Another disclaimer: I'm not telling you to go out and buy my books. Absolutely not. No way. I list things at a premium price. If I'm talking about a book that I think you should pay attention to, it's so you can find that at your local shop. You can find it in a dollar bin and a back issue bin. If you can find it on an online retailer who's just trying to get rid of their stock, which is exactly where I got this one. I paid $60 for this from Slab City Comics in the UK, which is a great price for any slab book. I actually got a couple of those, sold the first one for $240. I have a much, much higher premium on the second one, and I don't mind it if it doesn't sell for a while. But that's the story for another day. For now, I just want to make this crystal clear. I am not telling you to go on my eBay page and buy books that I have set at a premium. I have my own pricing philosophy. I do not price where I think the books should be right now. I price it where I think the books will be after certain things happen. For that book, it's where I think the price will be once the future for that Lita character has become more clear. I think once that becomes more clear, that will be a very sought after book, not because of Mona Lisa at all. So because of that, I am asking on my eBay listing for quite a high premium. And if it won't sell until down the road when those things come to fruition, that's great. But I'm not parting with mine until it gets there. And I'm not going to just not list it and keep it in a box somewhere. I would rather have it on eBay. It's kind of how I inventory things. So my price is higher than other people's. They don't have to pay what I'm asking. That's fine. I'm going to sit there until other people agree that that's the value, that's okay. So I don't know, we always talk about pricing, but I guess I kind of feel like I need to defend myself sometimes with my pricing. I'm not trying to rip people off. I'm just valuing books differently than other people. So back to that Ben Kenobi. That's exactly why I'm buying a bunch of those Galactic Icons. If I can get them in really good condition, those, not every one, but those iconic characters, especially like the Boba Fett's, or this one might be a little bit more of a flyer, but But yeah, if I can get those coming back in 9.8, I'll probably be the only one listing them. I would be comfortable asking like $150 a piece. So that would be, if this is a $5 purchase and $40 for that whole process, that would be basically tripling my money there. I'd be very happy with that. We've got another couple of the Dr. Nemesis books. First appearance, #1 from the Invaders. We already touched on that. So let's open up a couple more comics, and then I've got a couple other things I'd like to see. I think I know what they are. The last one was from Lone Star Comics, and this one is also from Lone Star. Makes me wonder if I ordered multiple things and they just put them in separate boxes. I'm not really sure. In the comments, if you do read, please pipe in about why you grade your books. Is it just because you want to keep something in good condition, that you're worried about it getting banged up? Oh, cool. Are there other reasons why you get books slabbed? Are you hoping to have them be investments and sell them? If so, again, I hope you're being a little bit picky about which ones you send off. I try to be, but every time when I send my books off, I've always got a couple gut picks in there, books that are not valuable, probably won't have value for a long time. This is a kind of a cool one. If you know the comic Dispective, his name is Gary Nusser. Gary, I hope I'm getting your name right. He is kind of I don't know what the word is. He is very knowledgeable. The word savant comes to mind, which I'm not using to reflect his intelligence at all. But he can talk nonstop about comics and his theories and his ideas for quite a long time. One of his ideas recently was about the Strange Academy, which I started speccing on back when it was on pre-order. I ordered probably 5 to 10 of each of the different copies, and hey, I thought that would pan out in a few years, and it panned out within months, so great. Gary's really dug into, however, the different characters in that story, one of which is a girl named Marie Laveau, and I wish I had a cover to show you right now. I don't. And I'm not going to dig. I hate when people do that. Here, I'm going to dig for 45 seconds. Anyways, I'm sorry. The character in Strange Academy is not named Marie Laveau. Her name is, I forget her first name. Her last name is also Laveau, Leveau. There's not a lot of information on a lot of those characters yet, but Gary was doing some digging, realized that there is a character who shares that last name named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau was a voodoo queen, a voodoo witch. In comics, in Marvel Comics, she first appeared in Vampire... I'm going to say Vampire Tales, but that was the Satana book. Dracula Lives, #1 or 2, I want to say, and that might even be in one of these two, because I think I did order one. I think that was a magazine-sized book from the 70s. So, again, this has not been confirmed. Don't know if this is going to be an important character. It was just very interesting to me watching Gary break this down, and I did jump on and bought that comic just for the hell of it. I did a little digging of my own, and actually Marie Laveau is not just a Marvel character. Marie Laveau was an actual real person who lived in the 1800s. And that Dracula Lives was not the first appearance of Marie Laveau in comics. She did appear in a Golden Age book called Crime Detector #2. There is a reprint of that, which I have right here. This came out maybe 12 years ago or something. Crime Detector #2. It's kind of an anthology. It has a few different stories, one of which, it's cool though, it reprints all of the old Golden Age ads and stuff. One of which is Marie Laveau, Voodoo Priestess, or Voodoo Queen. Here she is. Marie Laveau, Queen of Voodoo. So this is a comic about this actual real life woman. Again, that's who this Marvel character is based off of. Gary's thought was this young character in Strange Academy is actually a new incarnation, or it is Marie Laveau in hiding, because Marie Laveau became immortal. She could live on. So that's his spec. I did actually find a copy of that Golden Age book, the real one, not the reprint, Crime Detector #2. This is a pretty, actually, it's in better shape than I thought it. No, it's not. I mean, look, it's got the corner chopped off of it. I mean, this is pretty common for a Golden Age book. I think the front cover might even be loose. It wouldn't surprise me. It's got a really bad crease. It's not the main picture of it actually isn't bad, but it is definitely worse for wear. My comic shop guessed that this was like a 1.0, so very low grade. But again, it was the only one I could find, and I thought it would be kind of a cool thing to have. I don't know if this is going to be worth selling. I do make purchases or make buys just kind of on gut feelings. If that Marie Laveau character does pop, then yes. If anybody knows anything about this new Laveau in Strange Academy or Marie Laveau, I will definitely list it. But you can educate the buyers a little bit through a listing by telling them what you're selling and why it's interesting if they don't know. But you can't start from scratch. You can't, they have to have some knowledge coming into your listing. So this is going to go in a back issue bin and sit there for a while. All right. What else we got? Let's open one of these. This is kind of cool. Hasbro started this website, Hasbro Pulse, where they sell their regular toys, their collectible toys, and their super collectible toys. Kind of treating it like sneakers, where they have limited edition stuff and it goes on sale at 11 o'clock and until it sells out. I don't think this is a super rare one by any means, but it is sold out currently. I don't know what it's selling at now, but we've got, let's get rid of the box, G.I. Joe Classified Series, Snake Eyes. Actually bought 2 of these. It's not focusing once again. There we go. Very articulated action figure. I grew up in the time of G.I. Joe. I didn't watch it religiously. I did watch it. I didn't collect the comics when they first came out, the first run. I have gotten back into the series though, and I am excited about that G.I. Joe, the Snake Eyes movie coming up with Henry Golding. I do have a copy of that Snake Eyes Storm Shadow, the Purple Rain variant. That's kind of the jewel of my collection. So I'm big on Snake Eyes, and I'm big on Snake Eyes spec. So if I believe these ran $25 or $30, I am, considering they're already sold out, I'm pretty confident that I can at least double my money on these, probably, hopefully more than that. But again, they're really cool. It's nice to have, once I have shelves, besides comics, it's nice to have other things around, other things to sell and look at and talk about. So very cool. Awesome. I probably will list that soon. And once I do, again, I'm going to price it as if the movie was coming out already. So I'm sure many people who bought that have it listed already. Cool. And I'm going to be higher than they are, but that's fine. All right. What else am I buying? I have been looking at, this has been a big book for a number of years now. We've got a slab. I purchased a slab of 9.8 of Young Avengers #1. These have been kind of hovering around $300. Considering everything else that's been going on in the market with Miles Morales, with Null, with Strange Academy, with all these other properties, Star Wars, that seemed like a very low price. Considering this is not the easiest book to get in a 9.8. It's not an all black cover, but it is an all dark spine, which makes it tough. This, of course, is the first appearance of the Young Avengers. So we have Patriot. Is it Wiccan and Speed also? I believe it's the first Kate Bishop before she became Hawkeye. And that's actually my main reason for specking on this book is the Kate Bishop. She's going to be the first of those Young Avengers to really be featured. Again, going back to that Disney Plus series that's coming up. I understand that Clint Barton is going to be the star of that show. But if they know what they're doing, the show will be there to launch Kate Bishop as Hawkeye in the MCU, and anything that becomes big in the MCU gets mirrored in the comics. So I think we're going to see Kate Bishop as Hawkeye for this upcoming generation, and to have her first appearance in a really nice copy, I think is gonna be valued at far more than $300. So that's why we're here, to make money. No idea where this one is going to be. I'm probably not going to list this right away. We'll probably see what happens. As soon as we have some casting news or something going on with Kate Bishop, though, I'll be happy to put that on. Like I said, I have had luck with those variants of that same Hawkeye #1, the one that I showed you with the Spider-Man variant earlier, the Dave Aha. They're selling consistently at $400 for a 9.8 right now. So if you can find those, grab them. For these Young Avengers, if you can find a nice copy, there's a lot. That was a high print run. That's something to think about too when you're getting something graded. What is it going to grade out at? There are plenty of books that if it gets a 9.6, 9.4, even 9.0 or lower, it's still going to have value. That's not always true with modern books. If you are sending off a modern book, you better be sure you're fairly certain what grade it's going to get. If it comes back as a 9.2 or a 9.4, you might have just wasted $40 and the price of the book. Many times, a mid-grade raw will sell for more money than a 9.0 modern slab. So know what you're getting graded. Very cool. I knew I had a couple of these, so wasn't that big of a surprise. Here we've got a sister copy, Young Avengers #1, direct edition, again a 9.8. I don't know a situation where I would purchase a 9.6 of a modern. I don't see. There's such a price jump between 9.6 and 9.8 in terms of selling. Unless you could get it just dirt cheap, I don't see that being a good investment. Gosh, these are getting 9.8s, but I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not true, like color breaking creases, but this is not a perfect copy. It's just interesting to see how CGC grades. Sometimes they are a little bit all over the board, but yeah, Young Avengers 9.8. I think this was around 300, which I'm happy with. If that book can get half of the press that Miles has garnered recently, I think that will easily be a $700-800 book. All right. I think what this is too, and based on, this is a little bit thicker, based on what it is, I sincerely hope it arrived in good condition, because this wasn't cheap either. You're going to think I'm kind of all over the board here, because this is not a comic book. I'm also an avid reader, and I do actually enjoy specking on novels. Science fiction, young adult novels, something that gets optioned just like books do, or just like comic books do. Ready Player One was a good example. This is a first edition, first print of Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This was a trilogy, and then he did another trilogy, and then actually he's just starting the third trilogy. But this was the very first one. Red Rising is a science fiction book. I'm not going to jump into a whole plot, aside from saying that it is worth a read. It is very, very good. Very cinematic. It's like a science fiction, almost Game of Thrones type of thing, with really interesting characters and really unique problems and situations. So it's set on Mars. It's been optioned multiple times. They've been looked at making it into a movie, into making it into a series. It's kind of stuck in development right now. I don't know where it sits currently. This again is the first printing in a book. You can always tell that if you go to the copyright page. Try to do this without wrecking it. A little number line at the bottom of that page. If it has a number 1 in it, that is the first printing of it. This is the first edition. But the reason that I bought this one is this page. Where is it? There it is. So we have a signed copy, 1/26/2014. The day the book was launched, Pierce Brown, the author, did a signing at, oh God, what was the name of it? Mysterious Galaxy or something like that. It's a bookstore in San Francisco, I want to say. At that one signing, just that launch day signing, along with signing the books, he had this red Mars stamp that he stamped those books just on that one day. So this is not only a first edition, first print signed, this is actually like the very first day of being signed. So I think this is the third one I found of this. Not necessarily cheap. Red Rising actually has a really good following. There's a company called Subterranean Press that makes really very awesome variant cover editions of lots of different science fiction fantasy books. They're expensive. I bought one for this book, this first one, for $300 when it first came out. But that one currently is selling on eBay for $1,000. This is a collectible series. It did have a Dynamite series, Sons of Ares, that didn't really go anywhere. But yeah, so it has a presence in comics. I think there's more comics in the works. But again, if you're selling, let your interests take you. Sell stuff that's interesting to you. And to me, this is really interesting. If this gets made into, I think the best case scenario would be a TV series. You get a lot more time to focus on story. If this becomes a hit, then these, any signed copy is going to be valuable, let alone the Mars stamp version. They did the same stamp for the other editions, the second book, the third book, and so on. But obviously the print run on this first was much lower than any of the following books. So yeah, this is a cool one. I'm very happy to have this. It's awesome. And I'm glad it arrived in good condition too, because that was not the best packing for something that cost a few $100. So, you know what? I think I'm going to cut it short. I've got more packages I could definitely open up, but if we go much past 40 minutes, I feel like it gets a little monotonous. I guess just to recap, what should you get graded? Don't let me tell you. Don't let anybody else tell you what to get graded. The first time I opened a box from CGC on YouTube here, I got comments. So what are you grading that trash for? They were mocking me basically for the books that I was getting graded. At the time, it was really disheartening. It made me really think, like, why am I grading these? What am I, just stupid? But as it turns out, some of those same books that looked like trash when I got them back from CGC a year and a half ago, those are the same books that I've been selling recently for $400. So don't let people tell you what to get graded, but definitely set your own goals about how much you want to make versus how much you put into it. If you spend $60 on a book, you need to think about your return on investment. If it's a $60 raw comic book, another $40 to get pressed and graded, you've already got $100 into it. What is that book selling for? If it's selling for $130, by the time you pay eBay and PayPal fees, you're going to just break even. It's going to be a waste of time. So for a higher dollar book, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to get a higher amount out of it, 200, 300, 400 or more. However, if you've got $1 into a book you can get a 9.8 on, once you get it graded, you've got $41 into it. If you can sell it for $100, you're making over twice your money. So you're in good shape. I would be really hesitant about getting stuff graded just because it has a cool cover. You really do have to think about, like all these Josh Middleton covers or the Jenny Frison covers. They're beautiful. And if you want one just to put on your wall, absolutely. But don't get a bunch of those graded thinking that you're going to turn around and sell them for $200, because everybody else, everybody who wanted one has one. And there's a million of them on eBay. You're competing against a lot of people. I guess the biggest advice I can give you is definitely look for those opportunities to sell things that other people aren't selling. Whether it's something that you recognize that people might want that nobody else has recognized yet. So you're looking a little bit in the future about what is coming out later, like a Cassian Andor series. Who's selling Cassian Andor stuff right now? Not many. Or this Hawkeye or She-Hulk or whatever it might be. Or just things that you think your friends or your comic book buddies would really like to own in really high condition, like those Galactic Icons. I know a lot of people who would put 3 or 4 of those up on the wall, just to be, not a big investment, not an $800 slab, but really something that displays really well. It's not easy to find, and not a lot of other people are offering it. So, hey, thanks for tuning in, watching me babble for another 45 minutes. I really appreciate it. If you want to hit subscribe, go ahead. If you want to hit like, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine too. I think the most interesting thing for me is comments. If you got anything out of this, if you have any questions, anything I was babbling about didn't really make any sense, I would like to be a resource for people who are kind of trying to do the same thing I'm doing. I started out 5-6 years ago selling back issues of Entertainment Weekly, stuff that I had with Harry Potter on the cover for $10 a piece. And it's ramped up and ramped up and ramped up. I can't say that I'm making a big profit on it. I am definitely doing this as a hobby. But even if I'm not paying bills with it, the things that I am buying and selling now are bigger investments, which just makes it more fun. So good luck in your hunting. Go out, dig in some long boxes at half price books if they're open right now. Go look through the H section for Hawkeye in your local comic shop. Check out those Star Wars Tales. See if they have any back issues of those for cheap. See if they have a first appearance of this Dr. Nemesis. You can buy whatever you want to buy, but yeah, if you can come away with this, knowing a few more covers to keep your eyes out for, all right, we've done our job. So peace, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great day.